Good day to everybody. Maria made a great presentation and basic for what I am going to tell here. But I'm focusing, Maria told larger, more about these issues, but I concentrate on risk factors. They came already on Maria's presentation, but they are very important to preschool teachers and to normal primary school and secondary school, and also other people who work in education, and I guess that in every workplace. But now I have to find this one. It is here. So I focus on those risk factors, and they were this acoustic environment and noise, indoor air quality, postures that teachers use, working culture, this means this speaking culture in work, and there includes stress. In Finland, we had a study group where another presenter from Finland, Eva Sala, was the head of it, and I belong to the group, and we made quite a big study about voice risk factors and their connection, what symptoms teachers had and what it affected voice production. It is still, the study has been made, but we are still writing the results. And here are some that we have already published, or will be published soon. So, this is what you already heard, but it is important. More risks for voice disorders are from environmental origin than from genetics. And especially this symptom, voice gets strained or tired, it is totally from effect from environment. So this is most typical symptom of those who use their voice as tool. And here is another basic for this presentation. Here you see teachers and non-teachers, how much they have, how many, the number of teachers who have experienced voice symptoms during their teaching career. Maria showed the picture where was the prevalence of what was the voice disorders at the moment, or voice symptoms at the moment when the study was made. So non-teachers have much less voice symptoms during their working career compared to the teachers. This is the basics of our study we made in Finland. So we made voice ergonomic assessment. We made in Finland this kind of questionnaire that we can assess voice risks in schools and preschools and in workplaces. And these risks are they are asked of the worker, and they are measured. Some of them are measured, and some of them the researcher made observations. And here you see the risk factors that we assessed. And then we asked voice symptoms, and then we recorded teachers' voice, so we get some knowledge about how they use their voice. And then we asked about also how much they have had respiratory tract diseases. Here is some information that we have got from previous studies. So I am sure that you have heard already that poor acoustics affect voice. If noise is continuous, it increases psychological stress, and it decreases concentration, and it is sure that teachers can see that during their lessons and in daycare centers. It can be also found. And if the acoustics is poor, transmission or speech is poor, pupils can't hear. That same effects, that decreases concentration, increases psychological stress. So this is the effect together. And it has also been found that reading comprehension is poor in classrooms where is poor acoustics. And also pupils don't remember so clearly what the teachers has told to them. So it has thought that long-term memory is poorer in those pupils. And background noise, it has been measured to be very loud, especially in daycare centers, not so loud in classrooms, but especially in daycare centers, especially in Swedish. You have made quite a lot of studies about this. And it raises loudness, as Maria so effectively saw in her presentation. And it is important that the speaker doesn't notice it. It happens unconsciously. If you ask a teacher, do you use louder voice? They may say that, no, I don't. It is quite a quiet classroom. But they do if the background noise is higher than this 45 decibels. And as Maria said, here is background noise in this class, and I feel that I have to raise my voice. But you have to learn this, that you notice what you do. And what we find in our assessment, voice ergonomic assessment study, we find that teachers who had poor acoustics in their classrooms, they had more voice symptoms. And if the activity noise, that is, means that pupil or children make that noise, voice quality was more strained before a working day, but it changed less during work. It is quite interesting result. It is already before work. It is the quality is I like push my voice from my throat. If you hear my voice, you can feel even stress and tension in your muscles. It is that kind of voice. This was measured acoustically, so it is not just what we heard. And in high background noise, teachers used louder voice, and it was before working day and also after working day. So it is interesting that maybe Maria told that voice rest is important. This result suggests that maybe these teachers who have poor acoustics in their classroom, maybe they have gone already over something, over some level that they can't, their voice organs don't recover anymore during night rest. That is, sounds quite dangerous, and I think that we have to study it more. And in male teachers, we found that they used lower pitch. Mostly, if you have high background noise, you use loud voice, and that increases voice pitch. But male teachers used lower voice. It may be a coping mechanism in them. They feel that the voice don't run very well, and they try to do something. Then indoor air quality studies. It was quite a big study from European schools in different countries, and it was found that indoor air quality was quite poor, as it is now in this classroom. I see from your faces that you are quite tired. Ventilation doesn't work, as it doesn't work here, not well, because it really feels you have much more energy when the air is fresh. For instance, I feel it very clearly. My working way is about 200 kilometers. And in a train, I go by train, and I mostly try to have that kind of little cabin, what is for allergic people. The air is there fresh. And when I sat there for 5 hours, I do my work, compute and so on, and I have strength to do that. But if I'm not in that cabin, I get quite so tired and I want coffee and I take a nap and I can't even think that I start to work something. I find it very important from my own experience. And it has been found that visible mode is in many schools. This is visible mode, how much is then there that is not visible. And in Finland that is quite a big problem at the moment, that quite new buildings can have mode. This is that we must make cheapest construction with the builders, and that is really seen in Finland. I think that is international phenomenon, making most cheapest way the things, and we have to pay very much for that. So, dust, other impurities, these toxic substances from mode, they affect our larynx. There are allergic reactions, inflammatory reactions. Maria thought about this, that is inflammation. No, it is not inflammation, it is thus, laryngitis, yes, it is same, but it is the virus and bacteria has affected that. But when there is inflammatory reaction, it means that these vocal folds has been so vulnerable that there are some kind of reactions without infection. I try to find the word infection. So there is inflammation without infection. And that is very great risk for voice disorders. And also upper respiratory symptoms are in that kind of indoor air quality. Humidity and temperature, they go by hand because if it is cold, air is always drier. And if the air is dry, you remember maybe these vocal folds, they need water, that they have this very beautiful and good vibration. If vocal folds are dry, people have to push much more energy from lungs, and then it is much harder, the vocal folds. They hang together, and that is great risk that there will be all kinds of hazards in there, and viscosity increases. And in Finnish study we found that teachers have more voice symptoms, more often laryngitis. They used louder voice, again before and after working day. And in male teachers, voice changed towards more strained voice quality. This was this kind of voice quality. You push your voice more strongly, and of course then the vocal folds, they hump very strongly together, and it is great risk. Working postures, teachers, these are very typical working postures. Teachers say something, look the pupils, turn head, and very typical position for people who has voice disorder is that they stand a little backwards and head is like this. And then they talk. And this all makes your muscles more tension and your larynx is more high. And that is a complex that works together, and it is harmful for voice. I had a small video clip, but I got this yellow card already, so I go over that. More voice symptoms if teachers use harmful working postures. They use again louder voice before and after work day, and now voice pitch, it changes more, and it is higher after work day. And I think that this is maybe this more muscle tension. When you have a bad position, your muscles are not relaxed. There is more tension, and it is always if it is in shoulders, in larynx, or almost always. Working culture is the most typical issue that people mostly think when they talk about teacher's voice. Teachers talk long times, and they use loud voice, and they have these long talking distances, and they have very little possibilities to have voice rest. And these breaks between lessons, they are not really voice rest for teachers. They talk. Teachers are very outgoing persons, and they talk quite a lot in their breaks. And in our study, in some teachers, teachers talked much longer during. They used higher voice and louder voice during rest than during lessons. Stress is one thing that I think that it is in all workers have nowadays working stress, but in teachers it is quite big because number of pupils seem to increase in every country. That is same in Finland, and I think that it is same in Iceland. And discipline, that means discipline problems, and there are different kinds of pupils. Discipline problems increase. Time pressure, you have to do very much, and there are many deadlines, and workload just increases and increases. So no wonder that teachers have a stress. And emotions are immediately in our larynx. They are in face muscles and in the larynx. At least in Finland we say that when we are afraid, our heart jumps to the throat. That is the larynx. It is not really the heart, but larynx reacts immediately to this feeling. Okay, the connections, working culture, and voice production, more symptoms, louder voice, and working culture. It was the risk factor field that correlated strongest to this voice production and voice symptoms, and stress was the individual factor that correlated strongest. So they are most greatest risks. So they affect. And especially tomorrow we discuss about these issues, what we can do, and something we have to do. Of course, dissemination information is one solution, but maybe it is not enough. One of my PhD students, she makes research so that because teachers can't always or very seldom actually change their classrooms, but they can change something in their working culture. And maybe that affects, for instance, activity noise. And my student's idea is that teachers do voice exercises together with her pupils. And this is a picture of that. Pupils have really liked that. And here you see one exercise that my student made with one class.
Eli nyt tehdään sellaista ääniharjoitusta, että harjoitellaan sellaista asiaa, että miten saadaan nämä keuhkot hyvin vakkaa, kun ääntä tuotetaan. Kokeiltaan kaikki tänne kylkiin tuntuu täällä, niin siellä on ne keuhkot. Ottako ajattelu koskaan? Oot ajatellut hyvä, täällä on nämä keuhkot. Ja nyt kun me tehdään sellainen tarinanharjoitus, niin tällä harjoituksella on hyvä kokeilla, että miten ihanasti täältä lähtee siihen oma äänenkäyttö, semmoista voimakirjaa. Mä teen ensin tätä. Mulla oli ihan rauhassa ja mä ajattelin, että
Try to.
äänessä. Kokeillaan. Otetaan vähän rauhallisesti. Oli hieno. Otetaan pikkusen rauhallisesti. Okei. Seuraavaksi semmoinen tasainen. Ja sitten äkkiä tehdään ihan rauhassa.
Yeah, the pupils were lovely. One teacher commented that if she forget to make these exercises one morning, the pupil says, "Oh, teacher, we want to do them." So it was very effective in some, at least in some teachers. So thank you.